by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
The outrage over children being separated from their parents at the border is growing louder as the Trump administration defends its hardline immigration policies. I'm Hannah Dobo with details on a crucial meeting between lawmakers today.
A modified World War II hand grenade. I'm Mallory Peebles with MTN News, and I'll share how that plays into last week's robbery, which prompted a manhunt.
This summer, a few visitors to Yellowstone National Park will get very different treatment than everyone else. I'm John Shearer in the park, and coming up, we'll show you what's going to happen.
Good morning, I'm Missy O'Malley. Thank you for tuning in. It is 6:31, quite a bit of news to get through, and our top story for you now. There is a bipartisan outrage over a Trump administration policy that is separating migrant children from their parents at the U.S.-Mexico border. The president is saying Democrats are the problem. CBS's Hannah Doba has our details.
President Trump will be on Capitol Hill today to meet with Republicans on possible immigration bills. His administration has come under fire for its zero-tolerance policy of prosecuting any adult who crosses the border illegally and separating them from their children. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen defended the practice.
No more free passes, no more get-out-of-jail-free cards, no more lawlessness.
Mr. Trump deflected criticism onto the minority party.
If the Democrats would sit down instead of obstructing, we could have something done very quickly.
Over the last 5 weeks, more than 2,300 children have been taken from their parents. Some are seen here in this video released by the U.S. Border Patrol from inside a detention center.
Hopefully people will get the message and come through the border at the port of entry and not break across the border unlawfully.
Republican Texas Senator Ted Cruz plans to introduce legislation to stop the separations.
Kids need their moms and dads, and we can keep the families together while these cases are pending.
While the White House wants more comprehensive immigration reform that includes a border wall, Democrats say the administration needs to compromise.
I think as long as President Trump insists on being a hardliner on immigration, it will be quite difficult for there to be consensus bipartisan legislation.
A CBS News poll shows 62% of Americans disapprove of the way President Trump is handling immigration. Hannah Doba, CBS News.
Now, the House is expected to take up 2 immigration bills crafted by Republicans as early as this week. Both are expected to address the issue of families being separated, but neither has a good chance of passing at this time. At least that's what they're saying. Right. Much more to follow on this. Matt, a little bit more to follow on the rain before our first day of the summer.
The temperatures still remain pretty cool, and we're looking at more showers by the time you head into the afternoon today. It's actually not so bad outside temperature-wise. We're not seeing a big fluctuation in temperatures. Right now, 40s and 50s. Most of the heavy rain is off to our north and spilling its way back toward us as you head into the afternoon. Temperatures into the mid to upper 50s today. You may want to pack that umbrella along with the jacket. Hey, our little spider friend's back.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't that exciting? We'll talk more about your complete forecast, of course, coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. A makeshift bomb and a manhunt. There are new details about an armed robbery in Bozeman last week and what investigators found once they took the suspect into custody. MTN's Mallory Peebles shares the latest in our case.
Jeffrey King is being held on $1 million bail for the charge of felony robbery. These charging documents help us know a little bit more about the crime, but Monday in court we also learned a bit about his personal life. The married father of 4 from Belgrade appeared before Judge Rick West Monday for arraignment on a felony robbery charge. According to court documents, last Thursday afternoon, King entered Healthcare Massage wearing a fishing guard mask to hide his face and placed a note typed in Mandarin on the counter demanding money and employee cell phones. Surveillance video shows a customer walked in and startled King, who then took off out the back of the business, along with $200 in cash. According to the documents, the ensuing manhunt wouldn't turn up King. Instead, it would be a traffic stop the following day off Rouse and Bond Street, just past the Cannery District. Officers had already pinpointed King and his vehicle due to his distinctive limp, surveillance video, and interviews. What they didn't know at the time of the stop is inside the car was a modified World War II grenade with a fuse and magnets on the outside. Charging documents say once that was found, a bomb squad was called in to secure the live device. Additional guns with serial numbers removed were also found in the car. When questioned by officers, King denied being involved with the robbery.
Since it is a felony, sir,
in court, he accepted representation from a public defender who said King is unemployed and has Parkinson's disease. The public defender argued King isn't a flight risk and asked for a lower bail. But the judge went with the district attorney's recommendation of $1 million bail. King's next appearance in court is July 13th. Reporting from Bozeman, I'm Mallory Peebles with MTN News.
Now, of course, visit our website to read additional details outlined in those charging documents. And in mining city news, Butte Silver-Bow's coroner and the Justice of Peace candidate was arrested this weekend on suspicion of driving under the influence. The Montana Highway Patrol reports 55-year-old Lee LaBreche was arrested early Sunday morning on Iron Street in connection with misdemeanor counts of a DUI, speeding, and an open container in a vehicle. LaBreche was released on bond early Sunday. He served as county coroner in Butte for more than 20 years. LaBreche is running for Butte Silver-Bow Justice of the Peace against Ben Pesdark. And last year, the city of Bozeman made upgrades to the West Oak and North Ferguson streets, hoping that the county would pay for close to half the cost. The city created a special improvement district to assign the costs related to the construction of the streets that are in front of the Gallatin Regional Park. Now, the original price tag was estimated to be around $2.5 million, but it came in around $400,000 under budget. The city asked the county to pay for about $1 million, which the county commissioners did not believe was fair. County brought the lawsuit against the city that was later dismissed. Now, last night, the city decided to dissolve the current improvement district, but didn't put a new one in place. And that's because commissioners want to try to resolve the issue with the county before sending another bill.
I believe that absent a discussion with Gallatin County, the most likely outcome would be finding ourselves in a lawsuit with the county, which is just plain silly.
Now, the city is hoping for Gallatin County will pay for about $900,000 of that project cost. Commissioners must work out negotiations before Labor Day in order to determine what city taxpayers will have to shell out for the next year. And Yellowstone National Park Superintendent Dan Wank says that the only way to solve overcrowding problems in the world's oldest national park is to learn more about the people using it. Park Service officials are beginning a new project to help collect information on that. MTN's John Shear explains how it will work.
And how do you feel if you can pull right into a parking space at Old Faithful, or if you have to wait 3 to 5 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes?
When Yellowstone National Park hit 4 million visitors in 2015, complaints about overcrowding started to be heard.
And the problem was people wouldn't leave the parking area until they'd use the restroom, and there weren't enough restrooms.
We brought on more restrooms to alleviate some of the pressure, some of the concerns.
That was a direct result of people speaking out. But Yellowstone doesn't want to wait for complaints. It wants
to understand from our visitors what their experience is like and how they move through the park.
This summer, some visitors to Yellowstone National Park will be asked questions about their visit, but others will have a completely different experience.
People are going to be handed a digital tablet.
They'll use it to record their experiences in the park. For instance, to show how long they stay at certain places and how long it takes them to travel someplace else.
And then as they're wrapping up their trip, to leave the tablets at visitor centers and or at entrances.
The surveys will wrap up in September, and then
it informs the decision making.
And all of this information will help us better understand visitor management in Yellowstone.
And it certainly is a concern for the business people here, for the sustainability of their businesses.
So what might come out of all this?
All options are on the table.
Is there going to be some kind of limitation on visits to parks, to Yellowstone? Is there going to be some kind of reservation system? Are we going to try to spread the visits out?
And of course the parking situation inside the park itself.
Unlike Glacier and other popular parks, Yellowstone doesn't have a shuttle bus system.
And what kind of a shuttle system? How would it work? What would you be willing to pay?
Wink says don't expect any recommendations until at least April of 2019. Costello says whatever is decided will require careful coordination.
It's not going to be just the towns or the communities that surround the park or the park itself. or the forest.
The end goal, I think, is the same goal we've always had, which is to protect and to preserve Yellowstone National Park.
Wenck cautions that while the park will work to make visiting Yellowstone more enjoyable, it won't force people into a cookie-cutter experience.
I want them to know that almost any expectation can be met, but I'm not here to try to set their expectations for what they should do when they get to the park.
In Yellowstone National Park, I'm John Shearer for MTN News.
Now, John also adds that park officials plan to talk to business owners and residents of the gateway communities around Yellowstone to include their ideas about handling the growing number of visitors. Stay with us. Coming up when Montana This Morning returns, it's our weekly spotlight of a Montana-made product. Today we share the story with you of Melissa Burns, the creator of Girl Wood. But first, let's take a look at your headlines coming up at 7 here on CBS with John Dickerson.
Ahead on CBS This Morning, Gail continues to lead our coverage from Texas of the zero-tolerance immigration policy that is separating families. She'll talk to the attorney who obtained the emotional audio of children crying out, reportedly recorded inside a detention center. Plus, only on CBS This Morning, how Ford Motor Company plans to revitalize Detroit and give Silicon Valley a run for its money. See you at 7.